Welcome to Becoming Enchanted, a podcast all about ways to bring enchantment and magic into your life. I am your host, Stacy Lee. Each episode, we will explore many topics of mysticism, including working with Earth's magic, the moon, tarot, astrology, herbs, and more. Thank you for tuning in to find your magical self. Hello, everyone. We are now live. And with us tonight, we have a special guest, John Covey, psychic medium John Covey, and paranormal investigator. He specializes in chakra healing. He also has a background in demonology, taught under Jereme Leonard, from 28 Days Haunted and Ghost of Morgan City, which him and Andy do have that in common, and part of that Cajun Ministry.
We do.
John is also certified in level 1 and 2 Kundalini Reiki, which I want to ask about that because it's different than what I'm in. Taught under Sarah Lemos from Portals to Hell and Ghost Town Terror. So over the last 14 years, John has co-founded the Junior Investigating Paranormal Society, established the Central Sorry, I am reading from a script, guys.
It's okay.
Paranormal Convention charity event, and has formerly held chairs with the Rift Radio Network. John has been featured on many international known radio shows, podcasts, and has been seen on TV shows, including the Evermore Paranormal Road Trip TV show, Ghost in the Bayou with Jereme Leonard, and Eerie Encounters with us here on ParaFlixx, Roku, and YouTube. John has embraced his abilities, traveling on a mission to spread a little spark of positivity, healing, and love through all he meets. And that is what we are all about here at Becoming Enchanted, spreading that love and positivity. So welcome, John. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
And
First time being on.
Last minute.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Last minute. I was like, hey, I need a guest for tonight. So I do appreciate that, you being flexible with it.
Yeah.
Give a shout out to Lori. Lori, she's on here.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen comments yet.
Andrew Darling, what's up from Wyoming? Trista, Amanda, Chad.
Hello. Are you able to, Andy, are you able to like highlight comments like this, or is it just me?
Just me, just you.
Oh, okay.
Since you
I'm going to figure out. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Chad.
Since you don't give me any admin stuff.
I'm going to figure out.
Fun
I don't know
admin
how.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm just in the corner, John. You know what I'm saying? The cheer corner.
No, we have good energy, and that's why we had what happened, guys, is that I had Andy on my podcast and realized how much great energy we had together, and we decided, well, why don't you just be my co-host? So, all right. So while we have John on here, if you have any questions for John, you can post them in the comments and we will pull them up. But I have a first question I would like to know, John, because I was just reading that bio and I did not know that you had been on other shows. So tell me about the Evermore Paranormal Road Trip TV show, Ghost in the Bayou. Like, what is that?
So the Evermore Paranormal Road Trip TV show, that was actually an interview that I had done. It was a local show, I believe, in the Virginia, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, like the tri-state area, when you call it like that. And it was a husband and wife. They would go around, the Sorrells, they would go around and they would interview people at different events and talk about their specialties. And then they would go through and do a little bit of the investigation for whatever event they were at. So that one was for the Olivia Con, which was another paranormal charity event that was done here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, for those who aren't aware. Hi, Betsy. Hi, Marina. Hello. And that was put on by Sabrina Beakley here in Williamsport. And it was a fun show. We talked a little bit about my upbringing, being young in the field, now, of course, an adult, and seeing how the transitions go through there. You actually see me with my old haircut and all that. But I think I was 17 at the time during that taping. But that, and then Ghost in the Bayou, that was a small documentary that was done with Jereme Leonard, the Cajun Demonologist. It was published on YouTube, and it was about a case that was down in Morgan City, Louisiana. You can see in the documentary, Jereme was there on location. Obviously, being up here in Pennsylvania, it was a little difficult in order to get me to go down there. But if you are into metaphysics, you know about remote viewing, you know about doing psychic or mediumship sweeps of locations, even through like a video chat setting or so. And that's what we did. And it was filmed. And we picked up I picked a lot up of the history of the location, as well as what the family that's living there is currently going through, dealing with a lot of the tragic events that happened there, and that resulted in a couple other new things. I actually need to reach out to Jereme about that too. So Andy, remind me. And so that case is still actually going on. That's part of what's interesting, and no matter what show or no matter where you go, you will always trickle back and work on older cases in order connect people like that.
They always come back to haunt you.
I like your puns. No, I mean, so those two ones, they're smaller shows, smaller productions, but it was really nice to be able to kind of get my toes wet into showing what I do and showing what I have done, being an investigator and then also being a medium, and then working through all sorts of things like that. You in March?
Yes, you're doing the Awake Metaphysical Fair, correct? In
Yes.
March?
Fun.
I tried to get into that, but I was too late for my application, and she is full. So,
yes.
Yes.
Melody, she sells out very quick for
I told her
her Awake
save
Fairs.
me a spot for next March.
That's the one in Harper's Ferry?
No, this is in Martinsburg.
Martinsburg,
Or
right?
Martinsburg, I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite events of the year. She does two of them.
I told her, I was like, John keeps telling me how great it is, and I want to come. So
she does a spring one, and then she also does a fall one.
Yeah.
I know it
which
wasn't
I know
available. She offered it to me. Both shall be two things in the fall, and I wasn't available. I was already booked. So yeah.
But no, I will definitely be there here in the spring, so it'll be fun to see everyone.
Already booked.
So that's where you can go see him next. I guess that's your next event.
Yes.
March 23rd and 4th.
No, just the 23rd.
Just 23rd.
It's a one day. It's a one day event. It's for free to get in. So if you are in the Martinsburg, West Virginia area, there's no fee in order to join and come into the show. There are a bunch of different readers, a bunch of different mediums and psychics and tarot readers, metaphysical wares, some individual artwork that a lot of people are doing. I will also be selling baked goods. That's kind of another specialty.
Because you're in West Virginia and you can.
I know. So I do have those. I do like cookies and some brownies and stuff.
You're in Virginia.
Yeah.
That was cool.
What was that in the background?
That was me getting on Facebook.
There you go.
So that way I can make sure that we're seeing everybody.
Okay. No, that's fine. Yeah, that's amazing.
Marina also said that gift bags for the first 50 people as well. Yes. So I know that this past year, she, I think in the fall, she did the first 50 people who entered get a goodie bag, a free gift bag that a lot of the vendors and such will throw in all sorts of different gifts. There's crystals, and I don't know, one lady did like specialty cookies that she made, and you get coupons and all sorts of stuff in there. It's really cool. That event, the reason why it is one of my favorites is because the energy is good. The energy is so good. Hi, Destiny.
Hi, Destiny.
Hi, Destiny.
It is a wonderful, wonderful event. So if you ever wanted to go and get a psychic reading, or if you have before, come to this event. If you want to get a mediumship reading, I will also be offering mediumship readings as well. And yeah.
That's awesome.
And
Miranda, you're going to be there, correct? Is that, you can type in the comments, right? She's going to be there.
I hope she is. I hope she's set up. She did great work with Reiki.
You're about to tell us a secret. I'm listening.
Mom.
Yep, she said she'll see you there. So
Mom will also be there reading tarot cards.
Man.
It's her first event that she's actually.
I'll be in West Virginia that weekend too, and I did book another event, but now I'm like, I should have came down there and just visited.
It's fun. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy the event. It's not just there. I mean, if you ever, do see me at events, I'm very blessed to have, I'm usually booked the entirety of the event. But last fall, it was very nice. I got a chance to kind of break away and walk around and just kind of see how everybody works and, just to kind of experience it, not only as a vendor, but also as an attendee. So it was really nice to just see everybody's work.
Yeah.
Good energy. And
Miranda,
Melody does
where
a
are
great
you?
job.
Yes, I hear her events are well attended. So, yeah. Miranda, where are you at in West Virginia? Because I'm going to be in Moundsville that weekend. I don't know how close you are to that. I'm over almost
It's a
Ohio.
pretty good distance.
That's what I thought.
That is
That's what I thought.
a distance. I think it's like 2 or 3 hours.
Probably.
Okay. Yeah. So,
are you going to be at the penitentiary?
I am. It's a tattoo and oddities festival
Nice.
that I did in December, and I decided to go ahead and do it again when I couldn't get into the wake. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll probably get another tattoo.
Have you ever investigated the penitentiary before?
No, it was closed when we were there in December, but it will be open in March when we're there.
Yes. So. I'm going to that one just so I can see your face when you shove her down in the
the hotels are like $45 at the Best Western in Ohio Pile or something like that. So it's not expensive for hotels.
So Marina says, I live in Martinsburg, so it will be far, but I'm in Gettysburg a lot, so we have to plan DMing this weekend.
I will, and I would like to get you on here too. I will message you.
Well, Mary, you need to come by and check me out at Ghost City Tours on the Square. That's
I need to as well.
That's where I work at, is in Gettysburg.
And come to the Hoover House, both of you. And John, I know I did approach you about that date, so we're going to see if you can get back about if you can attend the metaphysical fair.
Yeah.
Did I approach you with that? Maybe I didn't.
Yeah, you did. No, you sent me a message before you announced it.
I thought I had sent you a message before I announced it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain. But we got off topic about the TV shows. Where can people watch these shows if we wanted to watch them?
So I believe I know that they don't film the Evermore road trip show, I believe, anymore. That was on a local network. So where it is now, unfortunately, I don't know where I can recommend people to watch that. And
sorry,
go ahead, Andy.
I know that Evermore did have a Roku station.
Yeah. So I don't know if it still is on Roku. If it is, you can check it out there. I believe they were on Amazon Prime too for a brief period.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Evermore. We want to look up Evermore.
Yeah, it's
Evermore Paranormal Road Trip.
Okay.
And then The Ghost in the Bayou, I believe, is still on YouTube. So you can go and just type in Ghost in the Bayou or Jereme Leonard and it should pop up. And then as well. Hi, Colleen. Thank you for stopping by.
Please do.
Pathways together.
Okay. Awesome.
And then, of course, Eerie Encounters, the show that all three of us were on, is on ParaFlixx and Roku as well.
Yes.
So, and YouTube.
And YouTube. It's on YouTube as well. Yes.
It's squatching.
Yes. I know. And that's definitely was a fun, interesting evening that we had there.
Someone got a little scared.
Well, Andy does it to me all the time. Are you talking about me when I'm in the wood, I'm crawling in the woods? I'm the only one, and let me tell you, I'm the only one that got off that path and went in the woods, though.
Yeah.
And well, no, not I think Chris did later. He did go
eventually, yeah.
Chris and Andy did, but I was the first one that just traveled off the path. So I'm off this path, and then Andy does his bark, which even to this day he startles me, and that is a trauma response that I have. Any type of loud noise, like doors slamming or anything like that. So it's not just because I was out hunting the Bigfoot, but I think, but that's okay. I like being scared. That's why I do this. I do enjoy the adrenaline rush. So
right.
I am the screamer.
The fear aspect of it.
So John, I've known you for a long time. So the first time John and I met, he actually had a Paracon in his city, and Williamsport's a beautiful town in a lot of ways. It's got older places, but it's also got some of the newer and stuff sits on the river. It's a beautiful city.
Gorgeous.
But I was so impressed with your work because how old were you when you did the first one?
17.
Yeah.
17. You're that guy. 17. That's my
17
son
and
is
did
17. Yeah.
Yeah, 17 when he did that. And yeah, it was one of the more intimate, I would say, it's the word for it, Paracons, because we had just a small room, but it was great vendors. But what was really cool about it was they had the stage right there in the same room with the vendors.
Yeah.
And so we got to listen
agree.
to everybody speak, you know. So you got to sit at your table, still do your thing, but you also got to check out the speakers that got up there. And a great place to have it, the Pajama Factory. That place really spilled a lot of its energy out when we were there investigating.
I will say that facility to this day is still one of the most iconic buildings here in Williamsport. The history is tremendous with it. They're doing a lot of new renovations to it, and that's partially why you haven't seen a resurgence at the convention yet.
Right.
And you know, it was really nice with that convention. So 2017 was the first year. Miraculously, both Mom and I, we threw that together in 3 months. It was just it was just a on the whim sort of thing that we were thinking about doing. We're also fundraising for the travel club, for the high school, for the students, myself including, in order to take a trip over to Europe for educational purposes.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that was really, really, really fun. And the nice part about it is that my event was one of the very first few events that actually had the guest speaking in with the vendors, like what Andy was talking about.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It was just really cool.
I like that. We did an event in June at Paravation, and they had the guest speakers right in there, and I was a vendor. And I'm like, oh, I get to see everybody. Like, I really enjoyed that. Yes.
Yeah, and it was a little rough to second the last one that you had because it blew up. Like he ended up with like the building we were in, and then like another building connected to it.
Oh,
so there was a lot of traffic, and I know you went through some stress on that one, but you know, it held together. Like every one of them that I went to there was always fun. I mean, it was always, but I do know what I wanted to ask you is when did you start noticing or what gave you the thought that you were gifted? Because I know when I first met you, you may have been then and I just didn't know or wasn't told, but I remember soon after that is when someone said, you know, I said, well, I kind of knew that when I first met him, you know, that something was different.
Oh,
you
no,
know?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it like that.
So, well, I first started as an investigator. I knew I had some sort of abilities. My mother has them. And out of all three of us kids, I know we all do have those abilities as well, especially my sister. She has a really big way with clairvoyancy. My brother does too. He gets that more in a psychic sense of deja vu. He'll tell you to shut up about it because he doesn't want to deal with that quote bullshit. But nonetheless, I first began with an interest in the paranormal because of experiences that I had in my childhood home. And when I spoke with my mom about it, I said, you know, do you experience these sorts of things? Do you feel these sorts of things? And she told me about an experience that she had when she was younger, about how she unfortunately had predicted some health conditions and issues with her father and then his untimely passing. And to this day now, oh my gosh, that was when I was 8. So, I can't even math right now. We'll just say about 15 to 16 years later.
So
trust me, I am so artistic in history and literature. I am so not math or science, ironically. But we really gathered this interest. And so my experience that I had when I was younger, my first experience that I had.
Bye, Colleen. Thanks for joining.
Bye. Thank you for coming. I really, after that, I was like, I want to go and start to investigate more. I want to learn why and how this happened. So when I was 10, I again approached her and a couple of my friends from school, and I said, hey, why don't we go and do the whole ghost hunting thing? Of course, being 10 years old at the time, that's what we called it. And it branched in. There was another team in the area. We started investigating with them. We investigated with them for over a year, probably a year and a half to 2 years, with a lot of mentorship from them, kind of do's and don'ts, how to be more methodical, how to be more realistic, and not everything is a demon sort of way.
Can you say
The
that in the
correct way.
back? Say
Say
that
it
so good
again.
the back can hear you.
Say that thing once back.
Let me rewind this back like a VHS tape. Yes, I do know what VHS tapes are. I'm not that young. You wind it back.
You're an old
again.
soul.
Yes. Not everything is a demon. And that's one of the things that they really stressed on, is that it's okay to have a little bit of that fear factor, a little bit of that thrill going in, but understand that not everything out there is out to get you. So, moving past that, learning and understanding that going through everything stemmed from that first experience that I had. Why was I the one that was able to hear the little girl giggle in the middle of the night? Why am I now able to feel things a lot more? Why am I able to see these sorts of things just happening, and then it happens? And working with mom, working through and communicating with a lot of different people, and for those who have asked me over and over and over again, a lot of people have reached out to me and wanting to kind of help shape my gift. And I said, you know what? No, I want to go more on the investigative route. And finally, Sarah came along in 2019. And that's kind of when mom was like, you know what? We both should take a class. And I said, at long last, this feels right. And she knows I was kind of iffy on it for probably about a month or so beforehand, because some people in this field are pretty sketchy, to be honest. And I'm not saying that, of course, not saying Sarah is at all by any means.
No.
She was
Yeah,
one of
I
the
know what you
very
mean.
first people that I was able to fully trust in wanting to expand my gift. And so before then, I used it to help expand the investigations that I did and the cases that I worked on, especially the case that I worked on here for the Dead Files in Williamsport. But that moved a little deeper when I was like, maybe I could take this a step further and try to offer readings for people. And ever since then, it's just been kind of
you
there.
kind of blow up. You always, every event I'm with you at, you're very busy. So
Yes.
yes. People like, I don't know about if people have told you this before. You just have an energy about you that you draw people in. You make people feel safe. You know, you are very kind, and I don't know if I can put the words into it, but
Very
you do just
approachable.
make very approachable. That's make people feel safe. So I think I wanted to bring up when you're talking about like when you were younger. I mean, and luckily you had like some background, like people in your background to kind of be like, okay, this is normal, this is okay, nothing for you to be scared of. Which I mean is similar to what happened with Andy, but Andy didn't have that. It was almost the opposite, Andy, right? You had a lot of stuff when you were younger, so you've kind of pushed down some of your own abilities because you don't believe in yourself because of that, right?
Yeah. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Pam.
But yeah, when I grew up in an area that was part of the Cedar Creek battlefield, or I should say close to it, actually Strasburg, where they had the Paravation, and kind of where the Paravation was located at. I could see that from my front yard.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so actually we passed my home place going to where you made us stop and so you could hug the tree there. But that was my area I grew up in. But
I'll never live that down.
The property that was on the back of that was behind my house actually had a Confederate ammunition dump. That's what it was used as. And so there's still lead back there, just so strong, so so big of pieces you can't do anything with it. But I would wake up and look out the window and see my grandparents lived right through, about 75, 100 yards in between our house and theirs. And my grandfather would cut on a floodlight at night, or my grandmother would, for my grandfather coming home. And I would catch just almost out of the light, but kind of light, dark figures. And I was 3.5 years old, I guess. Scared me to death. I'm thinking, not thinking ghosts. I'm not thinking anything like that. I'm thinking that somebody's there to rob the place, So waking up the parents at that time of morning and yelling that somebody's out there doesn't help out, a whole lot with the whole thing. But this started to become at least a weekly thing, if not a few times a week. And I started to make more sense in that these guys were together, or these things were together, and they were walking. And I just remembered that they did have, like, it looked like what I thought was a backpack or a rug on their back. I kept telling my dad that, which now I know was probably a blanket. And I ended up, they ended up sending me to a psychiatrist, to a doctor, getting all kinds of testing done because they thought I was, something was up. And my grandmother, who is gifted, finally stepped in and said, you know what, he might be having, and I'm not anywhere seeing things or hearing things, but I am clairvoyant. I do feel people, and things quick. And I don't know if I was literally seeing stuff in my mind's eye back then, and I just kind of chased it away from whatever, what I went through, or if I was literally seeing, something out there. And my grandmother, she stepped in and explained to my parents. They kind of backed off, and then I kind of kept it to myself to a point. And but now that I'm around people like Stacy, Kelly Miller, Pam, and them, and I started talking about this, is for over the last couple of years, I've been sharing, like you're saying, John, things are coming together now. What I actually, what gift I have. I don't think I could sit down and read someone, but I do know that I can read people under their past stuff that that have dealt with.
Yeah, you're very good at that.
Strongly, and and I've tried it out on a few people and stuff that wanted me to try it, and they're shocked, and I'm shocked, and and we leave it at that. But I think we all have the ability to reach into it. We just have to be open to do it, and being around the right people. It's really, that's why I've kind of went from my loud self to kind of mellowed out a little bit now, because I'm kind of understanding, you know what I mean? And
you're feeling safe. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's like why I wanted to highlight it, for two reasons. Like the difference between John and Andy, like they both kind of had similar things growing up, but John that was supported and encouraged and loved and molded, where yours was kind of like, maybe it's not it, and you can see where the difference is. But I do believe, Andy, like John, what are your thoughts on this? Like, I do believe a lot of us have it, most of us probably could access a gift of some sort. Yeah.
I feel that everybody does have some sort of intuition. And the best example that I can say is, for those who are watching, I think there are 15 people watching, give this video a heart if you ever have had this gut feeling and it came out to be true. All the time. Especially my mom.
You thought about somebody, and they called you or sent you a text.
It comes down to a premonition. I see the hearts are starting to come in. So premonitions. It also comes down to what you will intuitively get. Each person does have some sort of psychic intuition in them. Yeah. Ultimately, it comes down to how they have developed over time. So we talk about the whole concept of like nature versus nurture. Here I am, I'm anti-science, but we're talking about that right now.
The psychology of it.
Yeah. And, growing up, it really does affect you as a person, not only based on your personality, based on what you have been through. It ultimately, who you are is what you make of it. And when you have an upbringing that can either make or break what you are experiencing on an intuitive level, that fear of, oh my gosh, am I being crazy for I'm seeing this sort of thing happening, and oh my God, it's happening. It's right there. Like, holy crap. And,
And
then
then we
it's like,
grow
I
up
knew it.
in I don't know if you in high school, but you read One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or
Yeah.
we had to read that, and it almost goes the opposite way. Like if you're seeing these things, you're crazy, you're schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I also think that over time, society has evolved too. And so back then, of course, it wasn't, I hate to say it, all of us, all three of us, and I think some of us who are watching here in the comments, this is nothing to be, taken, bad about. We'll all be thrown into some sort of asylum. We would all be finally, you know what, that's what it is. We're hanging out
Luckily,
at
I work at asylums, so I don't know.
I was gonna make a joke about,
Okay.
oh well,
Okay.
we hang out at Penhurst anyways, so I guess,
Right?
all of
Oh,
us, we would be put in some sort of mental institution for experiencing the things that we do and being open about it.
Or if you're a
And
woman, you would be burned.
right. And it really ultimately just comes down to, again, how you were nurtured and how you were supported growing up. And
Yes.
over time, you'll realize that as society shifts and as, metaphysics becomes more mainstream, mediumship, psychic work, intuition, energy, it becomes more mainstream. You'll start to see like, oh, okay, well, I experience that too. And then let's take the next step. Let's dive a little deeper in what exactly is it? What can we call it? And how can we learn to use that better in our lives? And that's why I taught my first class on the clairs. So an intro to psychic work. And honestly, one of the biggest things in my class I expressed over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, honoring yourself. Because it doesn't matter if you get a claircognizant, a knowing, a clairaudient message, of course, hearing, clairvoyant for seeing, clairsentient for feeling. Those are the four main ones, but there are other ones out there. But ultimately, each one of us experiences those things. Some might experience more claircognizant messages than the others, like my mom, for example. She's a claircog and a clairaudient, where I am a clairvoyant and a clairsentient.
You studied at Edgar Casey, Lori? Oh,
that's awesome.
That he is, yeah. I like going down there. I like going to, like, that's just, I have chills over that one. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but Jason's got a really good point, man. He says too many suppress it when young and it won't develop to full potential. That almost right there explains what I'm trying to say. Was that now I'm actually exploring what I've went through because, I love my father, but he was the rough one on me, when it comes to stuff like that. But now that I've tapped into things and learning more, I realize now that's why some relationships didn't work. That's why, just a bunch of different things in my life didn't work out just because I knew from the get-go, but I didn't listen, and eventually that's what would happen. But
you didn't listen to that gut feeling.
And pretty much that's what it started out as, And
I will say this, at the end of the day, we're all human, right? I mean, I like to think I'm a human, I guess, but
we're
all
divine
human.
Creature living a human experience.
Exactly. Let's go with that. We're all human. We all live life. We have the free will to decide exactly what we want to do in our life. And if it's, something big like getting married or making a big, purchase towards your life or moving to a completely different area, you have the free will to determine that. But I think also too, who we are as a person does stem from what we have also been given through our Akashic records. So I don't know a whole lot about the Akashic records. I respect it. But I feel like if everyone wants to learn about Akashic records, they need to do it for themselves.
Yes.
First.
Which I'm currently doing myself. And I actually have someone coming on here. I just booked her today. She will be on here not until July 7th, unfortunately. And she does Akashic records. She also does QHT. So that is something I'm really interested in. I don't quite understand it, but But yes, I do agree with that. Like, we do all have that innate ability. It all depends on how we nourish it and
Mhm.
how we
Absolutely.
figure it out, like how to use it and whether or not it's been supported. And that goes with anything. Like that goes back to child psychology.
Mhm.
Sorry, I always
Yeah.
like to
Yeah,
bring my
I really
psychology
think
into it.
that's what got me into paranormal investigating was I was trying to figure out why do I,
What?
know this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why do I know that I should be over here or that this could happen here? And it
Hmm.
still happens when I'm investigating a lot of times.
Mhm.
Because it started out more just sitting and looking, kind of being the outside looking in type of person, I guess, growing up a little bit. And knowing which person I shouldn't be around, like they were not good for me to be around,
Hmm.
or their intentions were different than what they were showing on the outside, which I still have that. And but the biggest thing was, going into haunted places and going to feeling pulled to a room, I guess. I might not feel anything once I get in there or anything like that, but usually I'll end up having some kind of communication or something happen in that room or that area or something like that.
You always seem to know where
Right.
to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
And
when I
remember,
investigate with him, he always knows where to go.
when we, um, oh my gosh, it was after I think Jeremy's class. One night we were talking about West Virginia Penitentiary
Hmm.
and how you had me do like a cold read. I was not prepared to do this. It was from
Yeah.
a picture. And I described the whole scenario, and it's like he said, when you're there, you go here, you go here, you go here, you go here. And it did not disappoint. It did not disappoint. So
Mm.
Andy, you always do know where to go.
Mm,
100%.
Uh-huh.
thank you. Yeah.
So I
Just,
wanted to bring in, like, speaking of that, having the gift and, um, nourishing it and trying to figure out how to use it. I know you work with spirit guides a lot,
Yes.
and I
Yeah.
do as well. And I believe that, like, that's one way to help us nourish our gift,
Mhm.
because it is a divine gift. I do believe, and so having those guides, I think everybody does. Andy, I think you do as well. Um, tell me a little bit about your spirit guide journey and who your guides are, stuff like that.
So what I will say is that a lot of people over their entirety of their spiritual and physical spiritual lives, so their metaphysical expansion, if you will, oftentimes go without fully meeting, seeing, experiencing their spirit guides. They do they will experience messages from their spirit guides, like, "Hey, you probably shouldn't do this, but you do you, boo." They'll drop in those sorts of sign symbols and omens to help try to understand exactly where you need to go in life, but ultimately it comes down to whatever you need to do. For myself, I was very fortunate during the Pathways to Spirit class with Sarah Lemos, which she is taking new students, I believe, for her March class. So if you're interested, reach out to Sarah Lemos. She's doing her new class. Um, During that process, we actually did a meditation to where she took you thoroughly deep in wanting to meet your guides. And during that process, um, well, all I remember, and this was funny, all I remember is part of meditation, you're walking along this path, you're going to this big oak tree. Okay.
That's the one I
And
do, one similar to that too, with an oak
right.
tree and a door in the oak
Shh,
tree.
what's that?
It's just you do a door in the oak tree.
No,
Oh, okay. Mine, you open a door. Sorry, go ahead. I'm
no,
way
you're
off.
okay. Um, so all I remember is she said, sit at the base of the oak tree and just sit there, look around, think about exactly all of what you're experiencing, what colors you see, what do you hear, and then you just say, okay, I want my spirit guide to come over to me.
Hmm.
And the first being that you see is your primary guide. Then you ask for your secondary guide, your supportive guide, whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
and they will come through. And going through and experiencing that, this is kind of funny, and I can't believe I'm always talking about this. Please, am I allowed? Okay, I have a very sassy guide over here. And then he doesn't really say much. So the best way I could put it is the one looks like Jessica Rabbit, the sassy one. She's very, yeah, I don't know how to really describe her. Her name is Brianna. She is very, very, very much so the outspoken one. She's a sarcastic one. She's also the petty one. But she is the main one that helps with really communicating with others on the other side. Hi, Anthony. She's the one who kind of really brings in an in-depth communication with one's loved ones. She ultimately, it's really interesting whenever I do go to a reading, whenever I do a reading, she will greet the person, she will hug them, and then she'll bring them in. And when I know that she hugs them and I can see that loved one on the other side, that's how I know this person is safe to communicate with. So we have to also understand, doing mediumship work, you're not just going to get, I'm going to get Aunt Susie that's going to come through. I'm going to get, Uncle Joe that's going to come through. You're going to be open to anything and everything. And so having your guides with you.
The wandering poltergeist that's lingering in the corner. Yeah.
Exactly. Having a good relationship and good communication with your guides and having the agreements, that's a big one that a lot of us intuitives don't have, are our agreements and understanding what messages and understanding what we're experiencing.
What things
she's really big on that.
Mm-hmm.
My other guy
interrupt you real quick about her, because I have a question about her.
Yeah.
Because I do you think religiously, or whatever you want to call it, like every time John is on a live, he'll start talking sometimes and he cuts out. He just disappears and then comes back. I've been waiting for him to happen here. It hasn't happened yet. Do you think it's her? I think it's her sassy little things that, nope, you're not supposed to say that.
Well, I always have, whenever I do any work in the paranormal, metaphysical, even a radio show, or even if I do a Facebook Live, I always do my ground down. It's my setting my intention, setting what I am wanting to do. And so I usually start out by saying, my guides and angels, and I say, please join me at this time as I use my gift to connect with those on tonight's show. I did this before the show, but I ask you, please allow information and only information in love and light only. And when I'm thinking about it, I mess it up. But basically, I set my intention down and I do my normal saying, and that's when I know that whatever comes through is meant to work. When it cuts me out, there's too much energy in the room.
Okay. I knew it was definitely something metaphysical that was happening when that happens.
So if you are ever watching a show, or you're ever doing sorts of things, you're, what have you, and something technological happens, more than likely it's just the energy in the room.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Now the other guy that I have here, if you are big into angels, you're really big into angelic work, working with archangels, he looks just like Metatron.
Okay.
His name is Zeke, or a lot of people will actually, I believe it's Ezekiel. Archangel.
My cat.
Sorry, I am just
my
pulling
cat
it up.
was Ezekiel. His name was Ezekiel. We called him
Ezekiel. Aww.
And he was the cat, like forever cat. Like I never can get another cat now.
I understand. I understand completely. He doesn't say much. He does look like a knight. I don't really see like an actual human face. It is, he's the protector. He's the one that if I'm working on a case, he usually surrounds the property. He's kind of like on guard watch. He works, if I call in other angels, he's the one that goes and works with them. I did a reading and a healing once where I did work with Archangel Michael, and all I remember seeing, and this was a cool experience, and I still get chills thinking about it. I asked Archangel Michael to come down and show me exactly what I needed to do. And he literally took my hands, and I can still feel it. Like, I can still feel it. Think about the movie with Patrick Swayze, Ghost, with the whole, not Ghost. No,
Yeah.
it's Ghost.
It's Ghost. You're right. You're right.
With the
was a
pottery,
ghost. Come on in.
how he went around her hands. It was the same thing with Archangel Michael. It is a very the brightest white that you could ever
It's a
imagine.
Bigfoot. Oh, that's Andy.
Hello.
I thought that was Bigfoot. Oh,
You're gonna
shit.
get some ears.
Is that Gary?
It's scary.
Is he feeling better?
A little bit.
Feeling better?
A little bit. I just got done hacking. How you doing?
How are
What's
you?
up, John?
Actually, it's you. How are you doing? I've heard you've been under the weather.
Yeah. I was just
Good.
upstairs hacking. I'm getting better, but I'm not
Good.
100%. Still got the sunken in eyes and hacking every once in a while.
You'll get
But
better.
I'm not like I was Friday. So
I heard.
Friday
Good.
and Saturday I was bad. So
That seems to be the ongoing thing right now.
I know.
yeah, there's a lot of people sick right now.
Yeah, I had a client tonight that didn't come in because of sickness. So
Yeah.
anyway, John was just talking about his guides, his spirit guides.
Oh, and I interrupt you guys.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
okay.
sorry.
No, you're
Sorry,
good.
John. Go
We
ahead.
You're
don't mind
good.
this interruption. It's a nice
Listen,
interruption.
I am a very go with the flow person. It's all
Yeah.
good.
You kind of have to be when we're all together.
Oh yeah, yeah. But no, I mean, as far as those go, the experience that I had with Michael was really interesting, and seeing and feeling that during the reading, I saw Ezekiel, Zeke, walking the perimeter in the actual reading in this vision. And so I thought it was really, really, really cool to see how it's just like he doesn't speak much, but he goes and he works.
Yeah.
He works diligently all the time. And it's really cool.
Jason is asking, does he also come through your dreams often?
Michael, not often. Usually when I work with angels, I receive more sign symbols and omens than anything.
Yeah, me too.
I don't usually see those, angelic or guide beings that very often. If I do, it's for a very serious thing. For other people, it's different. Like I know Athena, who is here in the comments, she works greatly with angels. Angelic work.
I do as well. I always call in. I have two of them with me most of the
Right.
time. Yeah.
And so other people experience them in different ways. The times I have seen him in dreams, it's something that I need to very, 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 very carefully pay attention to. Usually it does tie with whatever paranormal cases I'm working on.
That's usually with me. It's usually when I'm doing healings. That's when, I'll call in, either Gabriel or Michael. Those are the two that I work with.
Actually, I have them.
I do feel
I have all of them right up there.
Yeah, Athena and I had a long talk about angels, and her and I had almost the exact same experience. Like I was kind of finishing her sentences and she was finishing mine, and it was really weird what we went through. But she's working on a book for that. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
need to talk to her because she will definitely love to have more stories and stuff like that.
Maybe we'll get her on here. Athena,
Yeah.
message me.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. I'd love to have an episode because I know some, I grew up Catholic, so I know, the archangels, and I always call in Michael when someone needs to battle, and I call in Gabriel when they really need to be healed. But I don't know all of them, and that would be nice to have some information.
So for somebody like me who hasn't learned about their spirit guides yet, what would you recommend somebody to do to get to that point?
What I would honestly recommend first is understanding the overall psychic intuition first. Every time that you will work with your guides, loved ones, with spirits, even on a paranormal investigation, you are going to use your own psychic intuition first. Mediumship wise, that's a whole other different ballgame. But you will experience psychic signs, symbols, and omens every single day of your life. You will experience different things all the time. And ultimately, as an intuitive, when you are working with your gifts, it's our job to understand, okay, I'm seeing a ladybug randomly for some reason. That's actually tied to you, Stacy. So I don't know. Do you have a gram that's actually with a ladybug? There you go. That's funny. So, and is that your giving hand?
That is my giving hand, yes.
Okay. So, see, I don't know why they wanted me to bring up ladybug. They showed me ladybug, so I just rolled with it. But using that as an example, you will experience those sorts of things, and it's our job to understand, okay, intuitively, what do they mean? And so that's where that kind of starts with. You, of course, have the four main ones, the four main clairs. That's where you start to begin with, and understanding each one of them, and then using your two primary ones. That will help determine your connection better. Your gift with yourself, with your higher self, and with your guides.
Slow down, your energy's getting heavy.
The energy's getting heavy.
Wake up.
It's something with the ladybug. It's something with the ladybug.
Okay. Can we take a step back, please? Thank you. No, I've had to do this. Don't.
Oh, God.
People might think I'm crazy, but
I'm actually a little concerned right now because something just came through for me too, and this is a matching tattoo I have with one of my friends. I'm gonna text her real quick just to make sure.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, it comes down to understanding and honoring yourself, and understanding and honoring the information at hand. And then also understanding the next step after that is the next class that I have kind of in the works, working with your chakras. Because your energy centers, everything that you experience on an intuitive level, affects your energy and affects things in your world. Every object, whether it's this pumpkin, or my phone, or myself, or this is going to be so freaking random, or a bottle of Mod Podge, it doesn't matter.
It's not random to me. I have a bottle of Mod Podge close to.
Okay. Everything also has energy to it. So if you notice, if your life is a little, the Book of Enoch, yes, we talked about that in Jereme's class.
Yes, I've actually been, that's the third time that's come up for me recently. I'm going to have to do that.
Yes. Everything has energy to it. And so if you live a very chaotic lifestyle, if you see like there are things just everywhere, things are kind of all over the place, things kind of seem like it's just going down this one spiral of a tornado, look at your space around you. How clean is it? How organized is it? Think about that as your chakras. So if you're experiencing and stuff's being dumped in on you all the time, random objects, random things, if you don't do anything about it, to be blunt, shit's just going to keep piling up. So you have to work through and cleanse those out in order to understand and, honestly create feng shui, create flow in your space.
Feng shui. You got to create flow in your space. I tell my kids that. They're teenagers all the time. And I'm like, my daughter literally went through a whole thing in a room, cleaned, got rid of things, got everything organized. She's like, Mom, I feel so much better. I can think.
Yep.
They don't listen to me until I do it. But
So I'm in that process, I believe now, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Well, and that's good. So if you have trouble sleeping at night, pay attention to what's in your bedroom. How many stacks of clothes do you have everywhere? How many baskets of either clean laundry do you have? I'm very guilty of that. How many different things do you have in your space while you're trying to sleep? If you have a very difficult time sleeping, look at the objects around you. Look what's around your bed, and understand everything around you can affect your environment affects you. So just like that with chakras, it will affect your intuition. It will affect how you perceive the information at hand for the signs, symbols, and omens that they are showing you.
Yeah.
And it is, again, your job to determine what's serving you and what's not serving you, and then what you're going to do in order to help cleanse, to understand that better. And so that's where the chakras come in. Chakras are energy centers. So we have our body here, our physical body. Then you come up about 7 layers, and then we have our etheric body, our spiritual body. People always talk about auras.
Right.
That's where it comes down to. So your energy, when you start to feel heat coming from a body, that is where your etheric body is. And so it is, again, your job to understand and read that information and pay attention to how it's going to affect yourself. I always joke around and talk about chakras being your organs, your vital organs. Because if you don't keep those clean, you're done.
Exactly.
Right.
I have I'm a yoga teacher, and we work a lot with chakras. I do it more somatically than probably what you do energetically, but I do work with on my Reiki table as well. But yeah, like it is very important, like the different chakras.
That's one of the things that I focus in on, honestly, whenever I do.
I knew I liked you for a reason. Yeah.
You know, that's why I focus on colors, because each color ties to a chakra.
It does. Look, hold on, let me see if I can get up there. See it? Do you see my
there you go.
there? There you
and
go.
I see, hi, Druzy girl. Hello. I hope I will see you in Martinsburg again. And yes, alignment, very, very, very true.
Oh yeah, alignment. Yep. Becoming aligned, and you can become offline, like unaligned, very, very easily when you get around either negative energy, or if you are in like someone who drinks a lot or doesn't take care of their body. You know, there's see, I am going more the yoga somatic way of it, but
that's good.
I don't mean.
But no, I mean, think about it like think about like your aura or your energy is a highway. So all of the information, all this energy is constantly going new. It's 81 south. Can we just talk about that? You're going like this the entire time. There's energy going. Over time,
up and down.
It's always going to affect you. And so think about craters happening. You know, the road. You're from Pennsylvania, you know about the whole, ponds that are in our roads. You know, think about them as that. So if you don't take care of it, you don't kind of fix that road, it's going to be a real bumpy ride, and you're not going to receive information correctly. So you have to take care of it in order to understand it fully.
Is that why they've been building or working ever since I can remember on the, what is it, the PA
Turnpike?
Yeah, the Turnpike. They've been working on that since I was, the first time I ever rode on it was when I was like 18, and they were working on it then, and they're still working on it. Yeah. But
the running joke is that the Pennsylvania State Flower is actually the traffic cone.
The cone. Yeah.
I could see that.
But none of the roads are any fixed. Like literally, I mean, you live in Virginia, and you guys have crossed the border. Like you go driving down the road, and then you hit Maryland, and the roads are like so nice,
like cloud. You just riding on clouds.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Gary's actually right now needs to get shocked because of the roads.
It must be a Commonwealth thing, because Virginia is the same way as Pennsylvania, so it must be a Commonwealth thing like that. But well, thank you for that info, because that's definitely, I mean, I'm already meditating and stuff like that. You know, Stacy has taught me that, and some other people, and that in itself, man, has really cleansed a lot of my dirt, you know, like just daily. You know what I'm saying? I asked her, like, I did some at the metaphysical or whatever it was, the
holistic fair,
and I did it with her, and I went from like feeling
yoga nidra. We did yoga
a little
nidra.
down, or not, I don't want to say down, but I felt, you know, I was like low on energy. And when we got done, I asked her, I said, "Is this when you meditate?" I mean, I felt like I had, you know, drank about 10 Red Bulls or something like that. You know, I mean, I was bouncing, and she's like,
"You feel better."
So
well, it was yogic sleep. Yeah, that's like,
so I can definitely tell you that does work, and it does now on a daily, like even stress level with my job. They're adding more and more each day on me, and it's like, you know, I get a little worried if I can handle it. And then I meditate. I've meditated in my office today, and it was like after I got done, I actually got a bunch of stuff done that I didn't think that I'd be able to do, and it came easier, And so it does work. It
Do
absolutely.
you, John, have a daily practice that you do that to keep yourself refreshed and aligned and stuff like that?
What I try to do is at the end of every day, I take all of the stuff that I experienced. Anything that doesn't serve me, I kind of throw it into a ball right before I go to bed, and I try to ground myself so I can try to sleep at night, because I do have a difficult time sleeping. A lot of intuitives do have a very difficult time sleeping.
Yeah.
So it's I try my best to bottle everything up and then ground that down. I do. Here we go into the woo-woo side. Let me bring them out right now. I do carry some crystals. I'm not really. I only recommend certain metaphysical tools like this if I've ever worked with them. I think a lot of what we see, like at metaphysical.
Can we all grab our crystals out right now?
Yeah, I know.
We're all like, wait a second, we're not woo woo. We all have them in our pockets.
Well, let me see. It ultimately. There's a lot of stuff out there that brings out the woo woo side of metaphysics.
I know.
But I think that
here's mine. You see what he's doing?
Is he pooping?
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
That's funny. That's funny.
You need to paint some gnomes, John. Do you have any eerie gnomes?
So no, I don't. I actually I don't. I have unicorn.
Oh, it's unicorn.
So unrelated. Not only do we do mediumship readings, but just for fun, my girlfriend and I, we go through and we do different little figures, and that's our eerie entities.
I was going to say eerie entities, and the most you don't know that John also does these eerie entities. I have one on top of my fridge, a squirrel that guards my kitchen.
Yep. This one actually. Oh nope, it doesn't. It just needs to be finished. This is an owl.
Oh.
So, we'll just for fun, we'll go through and we'll paint different figures and stuff. And like the pumpkin that I showed earlier, I have 3 of them here, and I have more over there. I go through and I paint little designs on them and different horror decor. Just for something creative to do.
I'm telling you, you guys
hold your energy.
You did not believe me when we were on that Bigfoot situation. When we were walking down that path and I was ahead of you guys, there was a white owl, one of the biggest ones I ever seen, sitting on a branch. Because
hi, Lawrence.
I heard, and I had no camera with me. I was way up ahead of you guys, and I heard something move. That's what made me look, and it kept moving. And I turned around, and this thing was huge, man.
That's Hedwig.
Whitish and gray, yeah. And like I turned around and yelled for Chris or Steve to come with the camera, and I heard just like another snap of the branch, but I never heard it take off.
It was Bigfoot flying away. That's what it was.
It flew off, I guess, when I had my back turned, but as big as it was, I'm like, man, I should have heard that take off. But
I'm wondering, like, if it was more of a spirit guide thing. Like,
I thought the same thing at the same time,
or some kind of crossover spirit messenger.
Because right after that, when we
Yeah.
started having the when you guys started seeing, what was it, a soldier or a boy or something?
Oh,
yeah.
Stacy, did you see that? Like, did you see the male that was following us the entire time?
I felt it. Yeah.
I knew he was behind us.
Gary was off.
You were behind me, John. I kept looking behind me. I knew something was following us, and then
he was literally standing behind, like right behind me, walking down, and
he came from the gate.
He did.
Yellow gate. I picked on it right away. I don't usually say nothing. I just.
But you know what? This is validation here, like we were talking about earlier. Each one of us will experience, energy, intuition on a different level. it just determines on, who you are, your background, and so on, and where you're going to take that information. So
Yeah.
it's nice to it's I don't want to word it. It's nice to work with people who are gifted and who are open to understanding
Mhm.
more. Does that make sense?
It
Yes,
The
does.
questioning.
it does.
I like people who question and want to get answers more.
That's me. That's me
Yeah,
right now.
exactly. And that's like, yeah, definitely. I want to go. Do want to bring back to that owl because I did have a question about spirit guides too.
Yeah.
That owl kind of brought up for me. I did a very similar, and I actually do a very similar journey with people to find animal spirit guides of going to an oak tree, but you do go through a door, but you do the same thing, and then you go through the door, you go down the hallway, and then you get to a place, and then you sit on a bench and you wait for the animals to come. So, do you feel like in your mind, can people have solely animal spirit guides, or do you believe that animals are maybe a symbol of another person? Like, because sometimes I feel difficult finding people as my spirit guides. I have a lot of animals.
I think it depends on what you work with and what you're called to. So if you, like for you, I know you work a lot more with elemental energy. So you work a lot more with outdoors, with the
Yes.
earth.
Mhm.
And so
Tree hug.
that's why I feel that, I would suggest that would be the reason why you are experiencing more on, an animal front rather than on a more people front as
And
far
I do
as,
have,
a
like, I
spirit
talk to
guide.
Mother Earth, like those,
Mhm.
the Green Man, and those are my, like, yeah. I don't know. I guess you're right. Depends on your modality.
But to also piggyback on that too, it also is really important for us to understand as intuitives, if you do readings for people, if you do readings in general, and you do see a sign, and like the most common sign that an intuitive will get from a loved one is a cardinal. Um, a lot of people, of course, associate cardinals with past loved ones. Um, and so if you do associate that as an example with someone, um, and it means something to you here, you will see that symbol, that sign, whatever it might be. It might not be a cardinal. It could be a squirrel. It can be a ladybug. It can be a koala bear. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But if you see that animal and it immediately reminds you of that person that you probably haven't even thought about in years,
Mhm.
more than likely that's their little saying, "Hey, I'm here."
Yeah. Like little messengers. And like when I do
Yeah.
readings, that's what happens to me. Is like if I'm sitting down with someone, like how you said your guys will go over and give a hug, and you know that it's safe to talk to that person. I'll know like certain animals will show up for me based on what the person needs. Like when a bear shows up, I know they might need to do some extra boundaries and protection and fight
Yeah.
for what they believe in, stuff like that. So I guess it is just kind of how I work.
That's actually really cool. I've never having agreements based on animals. I've never thought about that. That's really cool.
And that's my agreements. My agreements are in animals, yes. And they come up every time. And I use a deck. I use it because I use tarot and I use oracles, and all my decks have animals in them, or
Okay.
elemental energies. Sometimes, like elemental energies, like water will keep showing up, or fire will keep showing up, and
Mhm.
that's my agreements. I know by the elements and the animals what this person needs to hear.
That's cool. I've never heard about that till now. That's awesome.
And see how there's a difference. Like I love this because we are the same, but we are different, and that's why there's
Yeah.
room for all of us.
We all
Like
do the same work. We all have the same
Mhm.
mission, the same job, the same gift at the core. That's what that is.
Mhm.
But what makes it different is who we are and what our agreements are, how we shape it, and it
Mhm.
comes all back to where we were supported and
Mhm.
nurtured and taught with our gifts. See how
And
it
my
kind of
grandmother was
goes
Native
right back
American.
around?
Yeah, my grandma was
All the
Native
intention,
American, so
and
that's where it came from for me.
Yeah.
That's my opinion that the type of work like Jereme does and stuff, that I do with Mike. And, sometimes people will ask, they'd rather have a cleansing done by someone who is pagan instead
Yeah.
of a Christian background. And in my full heart of hearts, I think that it's the intention that you're putting out, the energy. Like if somebody's truly in there trying to cleanse somebody or chase something off somebody, is about the easiest way to say it, to rid somebody of something, an attachment or whatever. I think the intention behind it is what matters. That's what we're doing. And I think it's the same way I kind of see that now that I'm learning more about what you guys go through and what I go through, that, I have been around some people throughout just going to events and stuff that don't use it for the right intentions. And you can tell that they are bogged down, and like, you just can see that, like, the age on them and everything else. Like, I met somebody in New Jersey and we were just talking, and she was telling me some of what she went through. And I would have probably guessed this person around, 55, 60 years old, maybe. She was 43. And I'm like, wow, but she was all about spells and, some of the darker side of things, not good spells, but
threefold dark magic,
revenge spells and, lashing stuff out. And I'm like, just started thinking about that.
There's that rule of threefold, like, and that's the karmic rule. And it's everywhere, whether it's just you practice the craft or not. Like, if you do something to harm someone or take away someone's will, it's going to come back on you threefold.
I agree with that. But I was just saying, like, her intentions, man, on a lot of things were just, she was proud of how she, I don't want to say took down people, but made, somebody's life rough, for a while or something like that. Even to the point she was telling me how she would let him go through so much. And after she thought, well, they've had enough, then she would do some kind of a spell to rid them of whatever she put on them. And I'm like, so the intent at the beginning was to make this person suffer. And then the intent at the end is to, take them off. And even though some people may not believe in that kind of stuff, I still believe it's the energy that you're producing to put at that person. The intention is what it is. I don't know if it's as much, the words and what you're burning or something like that, as much as it is, like, I think you could probably take a cigarette and let it burn and do a spell over it instead of other stuff. But if the intention is
smoke is an element, that's the only
to
way
harm
the
this
fire element
person,
comes through.
I think if you're in touch with your side of, if you're in touch with your chakras and stuff like that, and about your energies, you could do some damage as well.
We all can, even with our words are spells.
And that's what exactly, by saying things to people in a, that's why I've changed so much. And if people, that knew me prior, I was all up into the headbutting with people about anything and stuff.
What was it about?
And now it's, I post positive stuff because what you may do, or my intention is to spread love and light. You know what I'm saying? My intention now is to have people enjoy life a little bit more, because I'm around the right people now that are their pure intention, for good for me. And so I'm trying to throw that back out. And I have some people that look at me like, they think that I've taken a psychedelic or something, and I'm like still on the trip. You know what I'm saying?
Got the chocolate bars.
Yeah, right. Chocolate bars, or thing is,
I'm not going to tell this story live, but John, I have to say,
but at 50 couple years old, man, it's like now I know that I'm manifesting better stuff than I was at first, because I see it back in my life now. Is what I'm saying. Like, the more I push out, the more manifests in my life. And that's what I try to put out there. And it's not any intention other than to, not try to hurt people. I mean, I've never intended to hurt anybody, but you can debate somebody about something as simple as when you see, like, today, politics, you know what I'm saying? and to have a different opinion, and just a couple hurtful words, man, can really make a person's whole day stink. And why would I want that? So that's why I lean towards now, seeing energies and more working towards that. And
your eyes are more open. Yeah.
exactly. And that's
And
what
so
it
is your
is.
heart.
I'm more asking.
Your heart chakra.
Yeah, like I'm asking questions, and I'm asking you all, and and I'm around, the stuff all the time. So yeah, pure intention and stuff like that. Like you're saying, even if we all have different gifts, if we're all trying to go for the same thing, trying to
Manifest.
trying to make somebody feel better, or they're having a haunting, it doesn't even have to be anything, demonic or nasty or anything. They're just scared. I mean, if you go in there and do what you do, and all of us are together, let's say on like the Bigfoot thing, both of you two knew that it wasn't something that we should be sticking around for, and decided to take off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And John, I remember John very clearly saying, yeah, we need to go. You know what I'm saying? I remember you saying that. And, and I definitely, no matter what, I know that if somebody in the crowd that I trust and know that their gifts are for real, if they're telling me that, if I'm behind and not catching up on what energy's around or something, or I'm not allowing myself to, and one of you two would say, hey, it's time to go, I'm going to listen.
We're going to get you to some earth energies this summer, and we're going to get you hugging some trees, and I'm going to help you feel. It's not funny.
It's not, but it is, but it's not.
I'm going to help you feel the energies of the earth. Well, it might not be your gift, but I'm going to attempt to help you talk to the earth. I'm going to do a couple walks this summer with people and take them around and see if, have people talk to the earth.
So what she's saying is, you see me on the side of the turnpike hugging a tree, that she's working with me.
I'm going to get
it's
hugging
Stacey's
trees
fault
before this year is out. I'm going to mark my words, everybody watching. There will be a picture of Andy hugging a tree before this year is out. I guarantee it. I'm promising you that.
Well, I've done it before.
A Christmas tree does count too, right?
True too.
That's be a living tree.
Does that count if I'm like under the influence and need to hold on to the tree, or what?
No, you're going to be communicating.
I can't. That's funny.
So, John, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
So, as a reader, we get a lot of different types of clientele. We got different types of people that come, customers or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if you call them clients or customers or however you call them. Yeah. But, sometimes you get people that are just like, not that they're not questioning, but they don't quite trust us. They're skeptic. That's the word I'm looking for. They're kind of skeptic of the whole thing, and that maybe their wife is like, "Hey, go get a reading. I want you to go get a reading." Do you feel like when you read those types of people, it's harder to read them? It's harder to. Sometimes there's closed off. It's almost like there's a wall.
Okay. There, 100%, absolutely.
Okay. I'm glad it's just not me.
No, absolutely. If you are going to get a reading from somebody, it comes down to your intention. See, Andy, this is where it comes from.
There you go.
Your intention is what determines the reading. Because remember, it's your reading. We, as the intuitive, are reading your energy, not ours. So doing a psychic reading where, for example, if you're reading cards, like I have, this is actually a newer deck, the Rose Oracle deck.
I have it too. I just bought that too. I love it.
There you go. This was a gift for Christmas for my sister.
I love her deck. I love her decks. I love them. I have like 3 of them.
Right. And then I have like other ones, but
I have that one too.
I know. Now I have one that you probably don't have. This I'm never going to use because it's a collector's item.
Don't tell me.
If anybody is a fan of
she's all
Sandman, the TV show, the Netflix show for DC Vertigo for comics.
Okay.
This is the Vertigo Tarot.
No, that's really cool. I know I don't have that.
I will not use this. This is a gift. This is a collector's piece. Anyway, getting back to the main topic. Sorry. That was an ooh shiny moment.
We could talk decks all day.
If you go into a reading and you're ultimately you're looking to prove if they're real or not, your reading's not going to be good because you're not open to receiving actual information. Your job is to try to see, okay, what piece of little information are they going to get wrong? And if they get that wrong, oh, they're not real. Oh,
Yeah.
nope, they're not real.
Yeah.
If
So how do you
you
handle
go
those?
to shows or you go to get a reading from somebody and you have that mindset, it's going to be very difficult for the reader to read people. And one example I have actually happened at the Awake Fair. There was there were two sisters that actually came up to get a reading. And I tried. I was trying to tap in, and I could just tell like the one was actually open and interested in it, and there was something there, but the sister had her arms crossed, and she was just kind of
the look,
like just
I've
like
seen that.
staring kind of blankly, and I ended up. I do not get. Like, for example, when I first started, I was hell-bent on not wanting to charge for readings. I do now, understanding that it's an energy transfer.
I know. It took me a while for that one, too.
I don't get payment until the reading is over. And so when those sisters were sitting there, I was trying to tap in. And it just got to the point where my guides, they took a step back. So when my guides take a step back, they're done with that reading. And so I was maybe 2 or 3 minutes in and they took a step back. And I was like, are you serious right now? Because this is going to make me look like I'm not legit. Like, this is really shitty in their eyes. And she's like, it's not you. This is her.
Yeah.
She's like, it's not you. She had some other choice words because she's sarcastic. But she's like, it's not you. She's not open to doing it. She's trying to nitpick things. She's like, it's not going to come through. They're not meant to have this reading right now.
Yeah.
And I was like,
okay.
I trust you. I said, okay.
Yeah.
So that was an example of it, but ultimately your energy is what determines a reading, whether it's psychic, mediumship, Reiki, it doesn't matter. Anything that has to do with any sort of energy transfer like that, it depends on how open you are as a person. If you're open to receiving information, the energy will flow beautifully. But if you're not, it's going to be a little difficult for you to receive that message because you're getting in the way of the information, not allowing the information to be presented.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I've had to do that.
Hi,
I've
Colleen.
had to tell people. Hi, Colleen. I've had to tell people like, okay, look, it took me a while to figure this out, because I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I pick anything up off of these people? I feel like I'm gonna look like an idiot. And then it took me a while to be like, you're blocking me right now. I don't know if I can do this.
She said that to me a couple times.
I understand that one.
I'm very direct. Like I guess maybe that comes with my age. I'm very direct sometimes. Very confrontational, but in a kind way. And I'm like, I can't do this reading if you're going to block me. So let's see what can we do to open you up. So I try to help. Sometimes I'm just like, have you ever had you end the reading? Have you ever just had to end a reading? Like I have to do that sometimes. Yeah.
In that instance with those two, I was like, I explained to them, I said, understand that when a reading is meant to happen, it'll happen. I said, go check out. When I'm at an event like this, I will say, go and check out this person, go and check out that person. Not just because I'm friends with them or anything.
Like our last event that we were
energetically, energetically, I will say, go and get a reading from them. Go and check out what they have to say. If something comes through, it works. Great. Because my energy may not mesh well with that person's energy, and it might just not work. And that's okay. So for any other readers who are watching right now or who are going to be doing readings or who watch this back, if you experience this, understand it's okay. Please do not question your ability as an intuitive. Don't question your ability as a reader because Energy is energy, and ultimately, what's up, Michael? Energy is energy, and at the end of the day, if it doesn't drive, it just doesn't drive. It's okay.
And I took me a long time to accept that. So it's nice to hear.
It took me a while too.
Confirmation that you kind of deal with the same things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, coming from the other side of things, as in myself, not. It took a long time for me to. Well, I tell you what I thought. I was like, man, if I allow somebody to read me, are they going to see all my dirt? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, not that I have a whole lot, but I'm just saying, are they going to be like telling me things, that I wouldn't want out there, but not understanding as much at that point in time?
Yeah, can they see into my soul?
But I had my ex-wife passed away, and I was actually at Moundsville at a Paracon, and I'll go to walk out the door, and this gal stops me, and she says, and she's always told me never to say her name, but she's a good friend. We hang out a lot. We talk about every day, so that probably should point some of you in the right direction. But anyway, not Stacy.
Not me, because I'm here.
No, Stacy's chopped liver at this point, I'm sure.
But
I'm kidding.
Well, I didn't know her at that point, and I didn't know this person, and they were like, it stopped me, and they're like, you have someone following you.
I know who it is.
And they start talking to me, and they're telling me they're pretty much, they were describing my ex, like to a T. But the thing was, Max and I, we used to sit around and stuff like that when we were married, and we would talk about the afterlife and what do you think is going to be next, and and I was still investigating then, so she would go maybe to like big events, but most of the time she stayed away, just didn't feel comfortable. And but we said, well, what do you think will look like on the other side? And I'm thinking, I hope like I did like high school or something, and stuff. And we're talking, and she said, well, what if we're just balls of energy? And I said, well, maybe we need to make up a word. So if you think that you're feeling that it's me, then you say this word, And she had a word that she would say about a lot of stuff that wasn't abnormal, but it's not used a lot. So that's what we chose. And this person's telling me, well, hold on. Now she's like showing me the word. Yeah. And she tells me, and it was that word. And from that day on, man, I was like, okay, so there is something to this. Not that I never really was against it, but when you watch people like John Edwards on TV and stuff like that, and they make it like my dad one time told me a story how he was based in Hawaii in the Army, and I can't remember if they had a psychic come there or if it was like somebody church. I think it was church related, somebody, Oral Roberts or somebody like that showed up. And so when they got there was a card on their seat in this auditorium, and they started writing down, so they started writing down, and they asked for like, what's your name, like some prayer that you want, stuff like that. And then they turn this card in, you know what I'm saying? Next thing, this guy comes out and he's like, oh, I'm being taught, whatever, his guides or God's talking to him. And, he's like, that somewhere over here, there's somebody that's praying for their mother to get better or something, or asking. And in other words, man, they were reading the cards. Somebody was telling him, you know what I'm saying? What to say, it's chair 13 on the second row, and he would say, like, the guy would say, oh, it's so my dad kind of pounded it on me when I was a little younger. And I think that's why he didn't accept when I was seeing things either. And, so just one bad reading or somebody trying to fake it can really, man, turn off somebody quick. And, but when that person,
we have a lot of bad seeds out there.
Yeah, when that person did that and they said that word, I melted.
So I'm going to interrupt there, Andy, because I just saw John writing.
And then Stacy, she was the first person that ever read cards for me and said some things. And Stacy nailed my life at the time to the wall, man. Like, she was spot on. I'm still waiting for some of that to happen, Stacy, by the way. But you know, but the thing is, I mean, but I'm very open to it now. And you know, it's like gallery readings and stuff are very interesting to me because, you know, I got to hang out with Chip Coffey at the Pair Unity, and I was in the galleries sitting, you know, with the guy that I guess you could call his handler or whatever you call him. And Chip was saying things to people, you know, just walking around a little bit, and he would point at somebody and who over here, you know. But the thing was, you could tell it was genuine because
it wasn't like those big ones where the people are reading from cards.
Exactly.
Chip actually goes right to the person, not
Yeah,
like, who in here has this? He's like, yeah.
Yep. He would go to a general area, and then he would, I guess, let his spirit guides or whatever lead him in the right direction, man. And he would point right at a person, and he's like, this is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
And out of all the people that he actually, you know, was reading in there, there wasn't a single person. One guy was a little bit confused because he couldn't figure out who was coming through, I guess. And but then afterwards, I was standing there talking to Chip. We were walking up out of the theater part, and the guy comes running in, and he's like, I know who it is now, you know.
It doesn't resonate now. It usually resonates later.
Yeah. And he said it, and Chip's like, was his middle name blah, blah, you know, I can't remember what it was. And the guy's like, yes, it was. And he said, you guys called him by his middle name, not his first name. And the guy like breaks down. I mean, you know, and so Chip kind of comforted him a little bit on, you know, they're just letting you know that they're okay, you know, type of deal. And also that's what the person was telling me at Moundsville that day, that she wanted me to know that even the situation was kind of bad of how, you know, things happened with her, that she was okay. And so from that point on, you know, it's something definitely that people need to try to accept a little bit. You know, I really think, you know, I am a Christian, so I think that God does give people gifts such as, there's a lot in the Bible that talks almost kind of like that, you know, about readings and stuff. I mean, you know,
yeah,
seeing things, right, you know, foreseeing things and stuff like that. And, you know, we're supposed to be just like Jesus. He made us in that image. So why wouldn't we be able to, you know, feel somebody's energy or something? But you got to be open to it, you know?
Yeah, Colleen, I agree with you. I do the same thing. Like, it's really awesome when you nail something. It's almost confirmation.
Yeah.
To myself, and John, I'm sure you're the same way. Like, we tend to get this imposter syndrome sometimes.
Yeah.
Where we're like, this isn't really happening. I'm just making this up.
Yeah.
And then you get those moments where you nail it, and you're like, there's no way I could have known that. You know,
Yeah.
like
you often second guess exactly what the information is because you're like, okay, this seems really weird. Like, okay. So
I'm gonna go talk to aliens. Gary says he's gonna go talk to aliens. Say goodnight to Gary, everybody.
Good night.
His spirit guides are aliens, is what he believes.
He needs that little bit of extra rest.
Andy.
Yes.
This entire night, I hate doing readings on a
please
show.
Do.
When it's
I
just
noticed
like
you were doing it. No, I would like to do this because I've been noticing.
I knew he was doing something, but I wasn't sure if it was me or not.
I wasn't sure who he was doing it on either. So
I didn't really know exactly what it. Hi, Darren. Hello.
Darren.
I didn't know exactly what was going on with this, and there's okay. I keep being pulled to you, Andy. So if none of this makes sense, it's totally okay. What I always tell everybody is whenever I start to feel anybody come in, I always try to ask specific questions. As an evidential medium, it is your job to try to get the who, what, when, where, why. And like what Colleen was saying, the evidential part is also gathering in specific information to try to help navigate and understand if this person actually is who it is. So with that, I usually ask who they are, how do they pass, what do they do in life, what are they doing now, what message do they like to share, and then what do you need to know? I try my best to kind of take that a little step further.
Okay.
I feel like there is a grandfather energy to you. Do you see him a lot in actually let me back up because he's like, good, now you're talking. Okay, blah 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 blah. Because he's like, he's not listening. He sees, but he's not listening. And I'm like, okay, one step at a time, please. I feel like he's been gone for quite a while. And I don't do well with names or numbers, but they're showing me 20. So I don't know what 20 years, whether it's 20 years. Well, I don't know what 20 means, whether it's 20 years or if it's, whatever 20 is. Again, I don't do well with names or numbers. When I asked how he passed away, I immediately felt my heart flip, which usually is my agreement to know that either ties to a heart attack, stroke, or an illness has to do with the blood. But then he took me right over here to the right side of my neck, and I just felt like this weird straining pain, but he's not showing me anything. And then I'm like, well, okay, because it seems kind of, like what else do you need him to know to see if it really is him? I asked, what did you do in life? What were you doing? I feel like he was a very jack of all trades sort of person. Like he had all these different types of skills. But he was really big with working with his hands. What they're showing me is someone working on like piping in a house. But then the part that I feel like is a huge thing with him is that he's constantly on the move. He was constantly driving, or he was constantly traveling, constantly going here, going there all the time. Does any of this make sense at all?
Absolutely.
Okay. Before you say anything,
tell you something when you get done.
Andy's not one to interrupt while you're doing it. So
I know.
Some clients will interrupt and be like, "Oh my god, yes!" And they're like,
and I try.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
just give all the information that I get.
Yeah.
While I was going through, I did smell smoke, but it wasn't smoking. Did he used to work on like chimneys as well, like a smokestack? I keep hearing the word smokestack, but chimney, something to do with like that smoke. Like I could see like the tar like on his face or on his wrists and on his hands. I don't know if he worked with like coal, but something like constantly just working. But you're going overall, aren't you?
What's that?
Jack of all trades. He wasn't a railroad person. No.
Close.
But they're showing me because the soot reminds me of like when somebody worked in a coal mine, but it's not that because I'm smelling this. I don't know. He's very fast paced.
Would it smell like brakes dust, maybe?
Oh, it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like he was just showing me his hands, and his hands are dirty like that. And then like I said, I was seeing like the soot or like whatever was on his face. And I asked, can you please show me a specific thing? When you were a kid, if this was a grandfather, I feel like this would be the father side of the family. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. When you would go and visit their house, they're showing me this body of water. I don't know if it was a pond or a lake or something similar to that, where you would go down either with your cousin or a family member and you would go and skip rocks. Because he's visually showing me that he would skip, like you guys would be skipping rocks, and then like he would like yell at you guys for getting too close to the water or something like that. But he's showing me this, and like I can see like a scenic, like the mountainside going on from the like near the pond and everything. Does any of this make sense? Because I feel like I'm crazy.
No, absolutely. You're nailing it.
Okay.
So he
also, before you again, I'm sorry, he's still going. Oh, this is probably too deep for me to talk about on live.
No, I'm not gay.
No. Oh, if I go take this a little too far, I'm sorry. Have you and your son not had a really much communication lately?
Yes.
Mhm.
Do you know if it's Trey, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Well, I have two
Um,
sons, but that's the one. Yep. Who's 20 years old.
There's the
I
20.
feel like he's really been, I feel like there's this distance. There's this distancing going on. That distancing is not going to last. So I don't want you to think about that that's going to happen and it's going to be there for a while.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
do you have a sister?
I do.
Do they live near each other?
They do.
Okay. She also checks on him
All
a
the time.
lot.
I promise I did not tell him any of this, Andy.
Right. All the time.
He's been going through a lot of stuff
Fitness.
mentally and emotionally.
Mhm.
You know, John,
So-
and I'm wondering that live I did the other day talking about someone who needed some help and was
Oh
having
my
some
God,
issues.
you're right.
I'm
Yes.
wondering if that's who it was because he did come to mind. Just remember, I don't know if you saw my live on the way to Hoover House Saturday, late
Mhm.
Andy, but I had a feeling that someone was really struggling. Yeah, I'm picking up now that it might have been him.
Does Trey have a kid?
Mm-mm. I hope not.
You sure?
I hope not.
Are you sure?
Yeah, well, I'm not. I mean, you can never be 100%, but
He's going to be okay.
Mhm.
There isn't this space isn't going to last.
I saw that too. We got orbs flying around right now.
And the grandfather energy is really going to be focusing on taking care of him. This is interesting. Is the grandfather's wife also passed? So your grandmother?
no.
Okay.
But I'm wondering
So-
if you're talking about my grandfather or my dad, who's Trevor's grandfather.
No, this I
Okay.
feel like this is your grandfather.
Okay. Yep. No, she hasn't.
Okay. So so that makes better sense. Thank you. I was looking for that. He's doing his rounds. So whenever they show me, they literally will take their hand on a table and go here, there. Like they will literally go like this.
Mhm.
They're making their rounds. There's a lot of shit going on, to be blunt. There's a lot of stuff going on. But please, please, please understand that you can't take on everybody else's thing. You can't take on every worry of other people's because it also sacrifices yourself. Then you can't see things clearly.
Yep. Yeah, she's telling me the same thing. Yeah.
And I don't know if is it a birthday? No. Are we near the anniversary of someone passing away? That's not him.
Yes.
Is it him?
No.
Okay. He's wanting to take it. He's wanting to acknowledge this because what he did is he took a candle, he put it in my hand, and then it's lit, which is my agreement to know that it's some sort of memory, and it's talking about like usually it's either that or it's talking about an important day. I talk with my hands. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
But he's very big on just wanting to make sure everybody's okay. He was a big provider in life. He wasn't always that very emotional as a person. Sometimes it was like talking to a wall.
That makes complete sense. Yep.
And if Amanda is still watching, she'll see. She makes fun of me. He had also a very kind of thick Southern accent, kind of not like the deep South like what Jereme has, but like the Tidewater Southern accent going on. And I don't know if you can hear it, but it's happening.
I noticed your voice kind of changed a little bit there. Yeah.
Damn it, every time.
Mm-hmm.
But yes,
Did right there.
he is trying very hard to keep the peace, is what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
So
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing.
I wanted to get that out.
That's cool.
I saw
though,
you kept
because
taking notes, and I'm like, I'm just waiting
This
for it.
is
I
the
was like,
second. This is the second time in a week that he has came through
Mhm.
on something.
There you go.
Like I
He's
was at
standing behind you.
Mm-hmm.
he must not have much of a fit. I'm right up against the wall. But
That's funny.
They're spirits.
that's kind of weird because I'm looking at it, looks like it's darker behind me.
Mm.
No, he come through. We were so some of the people that come daily over to the Hoover House, they have sometimes they'll have where all of us will kind of pitch in and we'll get dinner and sit around. Well, a couple of them were table tipping the other night. I'm sitting at the bar and all of a sudden I hear, Andy, you're being called to the table. And I get there and it was him, the grandfather. He worked at Avtex, which was a brake shoe. They made brake shoes. So a lot of dust, man, a ton of dust. And it had, I tell you, when I pulled into the pajama factory in Williamsport, the smoke reminded me of the ones that he had at his plant.
Okay.
So that makes complete sense. He was constantly, up until the day he died, he constantly, man, was working or driving somewhere or going to drive to work somewhere. Yeah. So everything you're saying is just nailing it. Now, as in him passing, they weren't 100%. And I can't remember if they did get an autopsy or not, but he died in his sleep. But he had just got the shingles vaccination like 2 days prior to that. So I don't know if that had something to do with it or not. He did have a little bout of cancer back in the day, but he beat that. He was always a pretty healthy guy, but all this makes sense because Trevor's having some issues just finding himself right now. I mean, we're still close, as in he knows all he's got to do is pick up the phone, and he does periodically and stuff like that. But we're trying to get him to move up here with me. But that would make sense because my sister now lives with my grandmother. So Trevor is literally either at his house or he's over
hit that
with my
spot
sister
on when you mentioned the
grandmother.
sister, John, and I was like, I swear, Andy, I didn't tell
Yeah.
you the sister.
All of it makes sense. Everything you're saying made complete sense. As in the water, that one's skipping rocks. That could be, I mean, I know who he's talking about. My uncle has Down syndrome, which is his son. So him and I grew up together hanging out like he was more of a good friend than he was, my uncle. And
that makes sense with my agreements, cousins, aunts, uncles. They all are my friends. Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, so him and I mean, anywhere we go, we were usually together. And I know we used to camp a lot at the pond, at the lake, and he'd give us hell about standing too close to the water. So all that makes sense. But yeah, that was pretty nailing. But that kind of follows up with what the whole table tipping thing was, because they were saying that he was telling me there was mold at the house that I'm staying at. And kind of
maybe that's the soot you're seeing.
What's that?
John, he was seeing the soot in the hands and everything. I wonder if he's seeing mold.
Well, the thing is, it put me like I have underneath the back porch, kind of like a mud room, I guess you could call it. And there was some mold on the concrete in there. It wasn't on the inside of the house, but it was on that side of the wall, outside, I guess you could say, of the wall, but still inside the mud room. And we actually sprayed for it last night just to make sure that we killed it all. But that's kind of crazy, but him coming in through twice now. And as in the anniversary death would be my mom. That's coming up, not far away. So that makes sense too.
Okay.
But,
I
But
think
yeah,
he's wanting to just simply acknowledge that understanding that is he on the father side of the family?
nah, my mom's.
Okay.
And
So
honestly, he's not my paternal grandfather, but he's the only one that I knew.
that's why I was questioning it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think the reason why that he was acknowledging the anniversary of a death date is simply just to know that they are together. Your
Awesome.
mom, I feel, did not believe in any of this. She was very
Terry's very
religiously
really leaving now.
driven.
He came back because he wanted to hear your reading, but he's really
Oh.
leaving now.
Okay.
See you
Have a
guys.
good night.
That makes sense. She just accepted it because she didn't want me to feel bad, but she wouldn't really get into it a
It
whole
was
lot.
that's nice, honey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm more
Wow.
like her now than I was before. Like she was very, very well liked in the community.
Yeah.
I think still to this day, they've pretty much told me that they've never had a funeral as big as her. Like they literally shut down
Aw.
streets when she passed because of the
Aw.
crowd. And you know, and it
She was a
because
good human.
such a giving person and worked with but she worked for the school system, you know, for a long time. So all those people, but then she ended up working in the jail as a dietitian. I guess she was kind of that or whatever. But I
That's a
literally,
different change.
yeah,
Not
but I
really.
still,
I've
yeah,
worked in
you
both.
still get,
Not really a difference.
yeah, I still have, yeah, it's still kids, you know.
You're
There
But
not
I,
really is not much difference between the jail and the school. I've worked in both. Yeah.
well, like her, she would explain like the jail gives you a really specific way to cook, and it's not the greatest, you know. And
Yeah.
she would do different things to make it better. And so I still have guys that I'll run into or gals that spent time where she was working, and they would say, "Hey, how did she make this?" And I mean, she died, you know, I was only 20 years. Ooh, there's another. I was only 20 when she passed. So maybe that's what the other one is.
There you go. You got,
Holy
that's why you
shit,
couldn't
okay.
pin down 20 because there was a couple 20s.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
When you said 20 and I didn't say it, I was
Actually,
like,
no,
I was
Trevor's
like,
19,
Trevor's 20.
so
Okay.
Trevor just turned 19. So I'm sorry.
I thought
So
he
yeah,
turned
so
20.
that means the 20 would be probably
You
because
told me he turned 20.
maybe I
You
did.
You
Shit.
did. You told me he turned 20.
Now you put me on the spot.
No. I don't know. I don't know how old I am
It's
or my
going to
kids
make
are.
or break. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, so no, he
He just turned
205.
20. Yeah,
That's
he just
20,
turned
right?
20 this year. Yes.
Yeah, so he was born in 04.
Okay.
So yeah, he's 20.
Yeah, he's 20.
So
Okay.
yeah. Man,
You're
that
fine.
makes me
It's
feel
late. It's almost 10
old.
o'clock.
How did I do
We've been
04?
on here for 2 hours.
Oh wow.
How am I
Yes.
20 years
So-
old? How is he 20 and I'm only 31?
I don't know.
That
You were
makes no sense.
11.
But how many times were you 31?
About the last 21 years.
Ah,
So
gotcha.
do the math.
About the last 21 years.
You're
But,
a couple years my senior.
well, thank
there.
you for that, John. I appreciate that, man.
Yes, John, that was beautiful. I loved it.
Absolutely, man.
And I was hoping, actually, I kind of knew it was going to happen tonight, because I thought maybe that was just my hope that you would either pick out someone in the comments or pick out one of us. And
Yeah. Your grandmother's also with you too.
you've told me that before. She's always with
Uh-huh.
me. She's one of my guys.
She's standing right behind you. So
Yeah, she's always with me. She was like my mother. It destroyed me when she passed.
she was a very big person into elements too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a
The
Native
earth.
American. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. She was we were told Cherokee. That's what I've been told. It's the
Oh,
Cherokee
nice.
tribe. So, but somehow she married an Irishman.
Hey, us Irish people.
Mm-hmm.
Here's
I
the
know,
redhead.
right? There's a requirement for the next time you come on here is you are wearing your hair down and all over.
dreadlock it.
He has
I've been trying to
beautiful
talk to him to
hair. Like his hair. I'm jealous.
You're
Look
not
at
the only
this.
one. Look at that.
Look at that. Like he's got some Fabio things going. I don't know if you know who Fabio is.
Now if you get
But he's
this,
Oh,
got
here we go. Anybody from work who watches this, my nickname is Fabioli
Oh,
because I am the Ollie's version of Fabio.
there you go. Okay, so you do know.
that's awesome. Right.
Love
So
it. Love it.
there you go.
Oh,
That's awesome.
yes. So let's start wrapping up. Where can people find you? Do you want to put your links in the comments, or I can do that later?
I can do it. So of course you can follow me here on Facebook. I will actually tag my business page. Or you can reach out to me at my website as well. Up there. And that's where you can see any events that I'm going to. I currently have my schedule for booking down. Right now, life is a little chaotic, so that has limited my availability as far as doing more.
Colleen, does Colleen
I
live
know
with
where to
you?
find you. She must be psychic. She is. I know she is. But yes, if you wanted to schedule a reading with me, the best way and how you can do that, honestly, to get a more immediate reading is to look at my events that I'm going to. So if you, again, are near the Martinsburg, West Virginia area, the Awake there, yes, my Instagram too, and my TikTok. I don't post a lot on there, but I do post. I actually posted a TikTok today about the show here, and
Oh,
it got
awesome.
almost
I need to get
800
more back
views.
on there. Oh,
Nice.
awesome. See, I got to get
So
back on there because I have enough to go live on there, but it won't let me stream live. So I don't know.
no.
Yeah,
Nope. What you can
so.
do is you can set your phone up though.
Oh, that's good. I have my phone here and this here. Okay, maybe we'll
Yep.
do that. I'll do that my next one.
But yes, so you can follow me there. And then Awake Fair is the most recent event. All my other events are listed on there. If you also are into comic conventions or such, that is my main daytime job. I work at a comic book store. Yes, I know a medium working at a comic book store is a whole comic in its own.
God, how
You
long
can
have you
go.
been there?
How long have I been there?
Yeah.
Hold on, stop. Who's talking in the background somewhere? Oh, that's weird. I hear like reverb almost. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Like it's like a singing bowl.
It sounded like that at first, like, and then it sounded like just like singing, like conversation, like almost like conversation singing right now is what I'm hearing.
Have you ever heard about the dinner party?
Well, which one, Jesus or
No. Oh my.
the Last
Message
Supper?
me and I will
Yeah.
tell you about it.
Okay.
Actually, Mom will know more about it. But
It
yes,
does
so you
sound
can
like a
reach
dinner
out.
party. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, so you can reach out there. You can also, of course, send me an email as well. The best way to get a reading is to attend events that I go to. If you aren't able to and you are elsewhere in this vast wide world, just send me an email and I can try to see about what I can fit into my schedule.
Do you do virtual? Do you offer virtual sessions?
Yes. Yep. And yeah, so again, the comic stuff, I work at a comic book store. You can also come to the Hershey Comic Con. I will be there. I actually help organize that event. I'm the assistant promoter for it. And then
I was
there's
there
some
last
other.
year. You fit me in last minute.
Yes.
Yes.
How long have you been there? How long have you been doing comics or working? Because I remember when I first met you, I think you were working there.
I have been there since. I've been there since 2017, full time since 2018.
So you've been there a good while. Nice.
Yeah. I like a comic book store. I'm a fellow geek myself.
Same.
So but yeah, so reach out if you have any questions, or if you're wanting to learn more about your gifts too, you can always just reach out. I do offer mentorship as well. And then stay tuned for some other things. I have some other announcements, some other projects in the work. Some other
I can't
really
wait to hear, and
cool.
I will share them on my page as well when I hear.
Awesome, thank you. And then some other classes that I am going to be doing later on this year. I've decided it's time to keep that going. And yeah.
It's nice to meet
So
you too, Colleen.
Same Colleen.
Yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
John, I am in a reading I recently had by Stacy Martin. She said that I need to start hosting retreats and workshops and finding people who are willing to teach classes. So I'm hoping that I can count on you when I
Yeah.
do finally get off my butt. And well, no, I can't say off my butt because I'm working my butt off. But when I finally get the time to like kind of organize one of those, so I'll think of you for
Gotcha.
classes. I hope you can join us for that.
Yeah.
So. All right. Anybody that's been on here tonight, I just want to thank you all, give you all a shout out for
Thank you.
every comment, every like, every heart, even just you staying on, even if you just had us on in the background. Um, that is helpful to our numbers. It helps keep our views out there. The more people watch, the more people react. The more Facebook pushes this, the more YouTube will push it. For those of you that are watching, I see mostly the comments are coming Facebook. I don't have a lot of YouTube views yet.
Oh, I did
So
not
if
know
you
we were
guys,
live on YouTube as well.
we are live on YouTube as well. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you that. Are you okay with
That's
that?
okay.
It's a little late
Well,
now.
people can go and check out my I only have like 2 or 3 episodes out.
Okay.
I did a little show, Hauntings Unknown, on
Oh,
there too. That was my
oh,
show.
cool.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Anyway,
So we're on
What'd you
YouTube.
say the
So
name of the one, Jeremy, one was?
Ghost in the Bayou.
Ghost in the Bayou. Yeah, we're gonna look that up. And if I
I
find it,
hope
I'll
it's
just
still
share
out
it.
there.
If I find it, I'll share it. And then, yeah, if you are on Facebook, if you could just go over to YouTube and go to Becoming Enchanted. I think it's like Becoming Enchanted something at dash 30 at Becoming Enchanted dash 33. I think is what it is. So if you can go over there, give me a follow so I can get more likes, follows on YouTube. That would be
Go
great. I'm trying to
subscribe.
build it up. Yes, subscribe. Is that
Hit
what
the
you call it?
like button.
I'm still learning all of this. So, but I appreciate everybody coming on. And thank you, Andy, for joining me as a
All the
co-host and
time.
being my new partner in this.
Love it. Thank
Um,
you.
so, and if you guys, I can't. I'm done. It's 10 o'clock. I'm very tired.
Same.
And any closing words?
Thank you all very much for watching tonight, sharing it out. If you enjoyed this evening, if you learned anything, please share this video out with your friends and family on your profile. This work and this show specifically, I love the fact that I love podcasts that share knowledge. And this is one that really does that. And I'm not saying it just for myself. I've watched other episodes as well. You learn, and that's what's really remarkable about this. So,
Awesome. Thank you.
yes,
Thank
support the
you.
show and support Stacy, support Andy, and yeah.
And support John. And I want to first say thank you, John, for the reading. That kind of really like backs up what I've been thinking. And so it's kind of weird. We weren't tight as I got older, but right before he passed, I had a lot of cool moments with him. So that means a lot. So, but I want to thank everybody too. I want to thank Stacy for having me on here. This is something I've wanted to do for a long time. And I guess we met for a reason. So, but first and foremost, the people that listen in, man, thank you so much for that. Yes,
you guys are the ones that count. You guys are the ones that are able to help me able to do this. I truly appreciate you. I truly appreciate you guys. And I just commented, but it didn't show up in the comments here. I went over to Facebook and commented my YouTube, and it didn't. I don't know how to do things.
I can tell you.
I think I might have done it on the wrong one.
It didn't come up. It did not come up on my Facebook yet.
Okay. Because it's showing over here on what I have, but I don't know.
Thank you, Colleen, for that.
Okay.
All right, guys. I am going to jump off here.
Me too.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. We love you. Remember to stay magical and fill your cup first. You cannot pour from an empty cup.
That's right. See you, John.